So I have a celebration interview that I share with my clients when they get to, like certain phases of their coaching. And recently you filled it out and you wrote something that literally made me laugh out loud. And it was witch, and it was a definition of a witch. And I don't remember what it stands for offhand, but you
Are we going to have to censor this?
No,
I need to know ahead of time.
No,
All right.
no censoring. No.
A witch, W.I.T.C.H, is a woman in total control of herself.
And I love that. I love that.
It's actually, it's a TikToker song. I apologize to the author, the singer out there. I don't know who, but that's where I first heard it. And I know she's a teenager, which I thought was pretty cool. But it really hit me. A woman in total control of herself and coming off my divorce and off different things. And I'm in complete control of my life right now. Complete control. Yeah, my kids are obviously still a part of it, but it's me and my family and my household. And I don't got to worry about anybody else.
And would you call this a 180? Like, do you feel like you were completely out of control and now you feel completely in control?
Yes. And I know it sounds a little funny, but to be that in control is very freeing. It's very freeing to know it's all about me. I take accountability. If I'm not doing it, then it's on me. But also, it is on me, so I can make it happen. And it's very freeing. It really is. Highly recommend it.
That's truly why I became a coach, because my husband and I experienced that freeing feeling. And I was like, this is the gift God gave to me. I never knew what I was meant to do in life. At 41 years old, I started my business and became a money coach. And it was truly, I could help other people feel free, just like you're explaining right now. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with people and their shoulders are scrunched up when they're talking about their money. Yours aren't. No. Right? You are at a point in your life where you're just relaxed. Sure, things happen, but you can handle those emergencies or those unexpected expenses because you have planned for them. They're in your plan. They're in your budget. They're in your physical savings account. You have a high yield savings account that is earning all types of interest on this money that you're saving, right? So
absolutely.
You've put all the groundwork, you've laid the foundation, it's all in place, and now it's just living that life that you get to choose how you want to live it.
Yeah, Matthew
it's great
was
to
all
hear it from someone else.
in that high interest savings account. My son, he's all like, "What do you mean your account makes more money than mine does?" So,
there we go.
It may not be too long before she gets one.
I love it. So there's a couple final things that we want to talk about. Last time, or before we get there, what is something that you want to leave our listeners with?
If you feel like you're sinking, you feel like I can't do this, yes, you can, and you have to, because you're worth it. You have to. It's not negotiable, people. Like, once you start, you'll get the money back and the experience back and everything tenfold. Like, you are worth it. You have got to do this, because everyone around you knows you're hurting. They may not understand why, but they see it, and you just need to get that stress, that shame, embarrassment, whatever it is, off your plate, because you're worth more than that.
So last time we interviewed you, that actually became the title of the show, because you were, you said you are worth it. And that's what we titled that episode. And here it is, you're giving the same message again. So it's not really like the secret sauce or pixie dust or fairy dust. It's you are worth it. Invest in yourself and you can be free.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it sounds like it just keeps getting better. Here we are a year later. You've made more progress. You feel even more free, more in control, more freedom. You're experiencing new experiences. You're appreciating smaller celebrations for milestones and achievements. I mean, it really just compounds, right? It just keeps getting better. You're watching the amount of debt you have go away. And you said you can do it, and it really is worth it. And we say all the time, life is better on the other side of debt. And so many people are trying to live a healthy life using debt as a tool, as a lever, and it's really hurting hurting their goals, right? It's taking them further away from that happy life that they want to live. And it really is better on the other side. And you can get there, right? No matter where you are, small steps, consistency, you can get there.
You can.
And you just said that. Just keep going a little bit at a time.
The sooner you start, the better it's going to be. I mean, I have friends, we're getting close to retirement age, 5 to, 8, 9 years. Most of us, my friends, will be retired. And I've got friends, some who are more than excited, but they've never looked at their debt. Dude, you might want to look at that.
You don't want to be paying off debts in retirement because you don't have an income to support it.
Exactly. And some of my friends think I'm a little crazy, but I will be debt free. And
it's good crazy.
Oh, it's beyond
being
crazy.
Weird's a good thing.
Yes. Oh, it is. It is. I go, you'll think I'm weird when I'm, FaceTiming you from a beach in Florida. Yeah. And, then we'll talk.
That's right.
Then we'll talk.
I think for your friends and people in general, at least in my experience in having this conversation, it's like, even though they're, and I'll use the word miserable, or it's very difficult and challenging, the financial stress of it in the here and now, they can't quite wrap their brains around that they have what it takes, the belief in themselves, to get them out of this situation into another situation that's not going to put them back here again. And to stay where you are, even though it's so challenging, at least you know what it is, you know how to manage it. It's a tightrope, it's stressful, but when you don't have the confidence in yourself, the belief in yourself, which is, I think, why, you saying you are worth it is so important, because you are. So to get through the awkward, the messy middle, but to get to the other side of it, it's so empowering.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And just people need to there is more to life than debt. There's more, and they think it can't change, and it can't. And it's like, yes, it can. Yes, it can. I mean, I can't tell you how many I'm a high school teacher, and I hear, people tell their kids, or, well, you're supposed to have college debt. It's what, well, do you? Maybe you don't need. Maybe you do have a little bit, because go to college is important. But maybe there's ways to work around that, and maybe there's ways to pay it off quicker, where you're not in debt till. I mean, I paid off my college debt when my daughter was a senior in high school.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
It is. And it's a monkey on your back for a long time.
Yes, it is.
It's very overwhelming.
And sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Well, so exactly. You have that. And
college loans.
Yeah, you have the college loans or any of that. And you don't need people wait and think, when I win the lotto, things will get better. Are you serious right now? Because you're not going to win the lotto.
That's not a plan.
The minute you start working with your money, and Christine will tell you this, I started getting more money. I'd win raffles. I don't win anything. I would win raffle tickets. I would, just all of a sudden I'd be like, why is this stuff happening to me? And when you start, I'm telling you, you get good with your money, and the universe, whatever you believe, will bring you stuff to you. Good stuff to you.
Yep.
Yes. So before we sign off, I'm curious on one last thing. Is there any question that we didn't ask you that you would have wished we had, and how would you have answered it?
Probably the biggest thing, and I know when we did our classes together, we talked about it, is the importance of priorities. People who you have to sit down with yourself, your significant other, whatever it is, and really nail down what your priorities are. And it should be a semi-short list. Like, if you look down at your priorities and you got 27, dude, that's too much. You should have no more than 3 to 5, and really focus on them and make sure you're on the same page. If you do have a partner, make sure you're on the same page with them.
That's a really good point. And I'm curious, have you revisited, you're in this a little more than a year, so maybe you haven't done this yet, but over the course of your life, have you set your priorities and then revisited them later to see if they're still your priorities, or have other things on that original list of 27, right? Have other things moved into those top 3 to 5? Because you're right, you can really only support a few, but there may be other things on the list.
No, mine definitely have. I revisited them not too long ago in our document, the coaching document Christine and I use. And I think I moved a couple things around, and just, it's more me-centered. My kids are still a priority, but they were number one right after the divorce, because we're going through a lot of things, personal things and financial things. Now they're okay. and I can move them a little lower because they got it going on, and I can move other things up front. But I definitely think priorities will change, especially the more debt I pay off, priorities change a little bit, just because now I've got a little wiggle room and I still nail on the debt, but if there's other things I want to do.
It's good for people to hear that too, because they're going to have a list. They're going to want to tackle everything, right? So shrink it down, get the priorities to the top of the list that are your priorities today. And then next year, later on in the year, a couple of years from now, revisit the list and rearrange it, right?
Absolutely.
Things are going to move.
Yep.
So we're going to end the show a little different today. We normally end the show with a book and a quote, and we invited you to do that for us last time. So rather than bring a new book and quote to the table, we're just going to direct everybody. If you've not seen, or even if you have seen the first interview with Christine, go back and watch it again and pick up the book recommendation and the quote there, because that one it's such a good kind of foundation for this conversation, right? Going back, reviewing some of the comments that you made, it's so clear to me after having today's conversation how aligned you were already almost a year ago, because you really have repeated a lot of the same things. I mean, this has not changed that much for you. This plan is working. It was already in the right place. And you've spoken and said so many times how it's just continued to produce fruit. You've continued to improve, right? And win and have success with money. And you are convinced that you're going to hit those goals. You are determined to hit those goals, and you're excited about hitting those goals. It's so powerful. So if you haven't seen it, it's episode 9. And we didn't plan to do this, Christine, but if people could leave us the tools that they're using in the comments, what types of budgeting tools are they using, right? I want to know, because I think, there's so many options out there. It sounds like, and I might be wrong, but Christine, are you doing this just on an Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
Is that kind of how you're budgeting? Yeah. Yep. So it can just be an Excel spreadsheet. It can be an app. It can be a number of different, it could be pencil and paper. I'm just curious what people are doing. I want to see what people are doing out there. So I'm going to challenge everybody to, just take a picture and drop it in there. And, maybe we'll put something together with some of the images that we get, and we can do something fun with that. But I'm curious to see what kind of tools people are using for budgets, because I don't think it has to be something super sophisticated. I think it can be as simple, or it can be as complex as you want it to be. So, Christine, thanks so much for being back on the show.
No, you're welcome.
I can't thank you enough. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us today, and for telling our listeners what a witch is.
And they all should be witches. They all should be witches, man. We got that.
Thanks again, and
no problem.
We'll talk to everybody on the next episode. Bye. Thanks to all our incredible listeners for being part of today's journey. We're always on the lookout for amazing stories, unique perspectives, and expert opinions. And guess what? We want you to be our next guest. Connect with us using the links in the description below to reach out. Your story could be the next chapter of Off Limits.